friends.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Oh my god, that reminds me of from She's the Man, where they go, welcome, 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 welcome. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the movie, but I haven't seen it in a hot minute,
Oh, it's the principal singing Welcome to Genovia. Oh my god, Illyria. I did it again.
Welcome to Genovia.
Welcome to Genovia. Anyway, welcome back.
I mean, I'd go to Genovia over... Where's the other place?
Illyria.
What's Illyria? Is
I
that the
don't know.
school?
It's the name of the school.
Yeah, I'd definitely go to Genovia before I go to Illyria.
I think anyone would.
I personally feel like I relate to Mia
Thermopylamis.
I relate to the Queen of Genovia.
Right. Which Queen of Genovia?
The Anne Hathaway.
The Anne Hathaway. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, Mia. On, like, another level.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
You feel very connected.
I feel very connected. Maybe one day I'll be Queen of Genovia.
Maybe.
Who knows?
It doesn't exist.
Queen of somewhere.
Queen of somewhere?
Maybe one day a long-lost relative will come and be like, hey, it's your time to shine.
You could be Queen of Scarborough.
I don't live in Scarborough.
You used to.
For like half a year.
That's fine. Queen of Toronto then?
I think there's already a Miss Toronto, isn't
Who?
there? Like in pageants and stuff?
I don't follow pageants. I wouldn't know.
I'm not thin enough to be in pageants, so...
You could do a cool trick. You know how they have little bits?
Oh, where they throw the baton. I do rollerblading.
Would you? I would do scatting.
Can we hear something?
Yeah, hold on. What up, up, up? That's all you got.
That's a little sneak peek for the album that's coming.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be out by the end of this year. It's gonna be... Yeah.
She's gonna do it in under 6 months.
It's gonna be called Annie Scats.
Ew. That sounds gross.
It does, actually.
Isn't scats
Mm-hmm.
poop?
Mm-hmm.
Is it specifically animal poop?
Yeah, it's like if you're out and you're looking for scat. If you're like, what do you call it? What are those little people that wear the uniforms and get badges?
Boy Scouts?
Boy Scouts, that's it.
I learned what scat was from Cheaper by the Dozen.
Oh, he's like, we're following poop. No, it's scat.
No, he says we're following scat, and then he's like, what's that? Poop!
Poop. That's a good movie.
It's okay.
What?
It's not really anything special. It's just a bunch of kids in a movie.
I mean, I guess, but it was filmed here.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the lead guy in it?
Steve Martin.
I think his name is Tom.
Oh, I thought you meant his actual name.
Is his name actually Steve Martin?
Yeah, the
I
actor.
thought his name was Tom in and out of the movie.
No.
Oh.
To be fair, he looks like a Tom. I'll give
He
you that.
looks like a Tom.
He looks like a Tom. But no, it's Steve Martin. Because he's the Pink Panther.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's good. It's funny.
Is that...
It's
I
very
also
funny.
haven't really seen Holes either, which we talked about
Yeah, Holes is good.
yesterday.
I read that book in elementary school.
It's a book?
Yeah, it's a book first.
Oh.
I think it's a book first.
Forced.
It's
a book forced.
I think it's a book first.
Okay. Maybe I'll read the book.
Good book. Shia LaBeouf is in it.
Oh. Yeah, I think I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've seen the full thing. Is there a blonde guy in it?
Could be?
It's the one with the owls in the holes, right?
Yeah.
And some kind of breakfast place. I think.
Something about digging holes in the desert.
What?
They're digging holes in the desert. Are they not?
I didn't think so.
They're like not in the desert
I wouldn't
anyway.
know, to be honest.
It's not that important.
If anybody knows what the movie Holes is actually about, let us know. Because apparently we don't know.
No. Okay. Anyway, what we're going to talk about today was living with ADHD.
Yeah, because Annie's got ADHD.
That I do.
My name's Annie.
I got ADHD.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But I thought the easiest way to kind of do this was maybe explain what it is and then the different types.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Like, even myself, I didn't know what it was until
Yeah.
we lived together.
Yeah, because when people think of ADHD, they think, oh my God, you're so quirky and you must talk a lot. That's the common thing.
I think for me, I thought, what did I think ADHD was? I think I just thought it was like distracting.
Right.
Like you were distracted like all the time. That's what I thought ADHD to be, but I didn't know literally anything else.
Yeah.
I also, like, as far as I knew, had never met somebody
that had it
with ADHD. So
right.
I was never like interested
I mean, why would you? Because
or like educated on it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to fix this mic the best way possible so I can see the screen without
Did you
not
make
talking.
notes?
Yeah.
Well done, friend.
I had to make
This
notes.
is Annie's episode. I have no idea what I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in here.
I had to make notes because, like, it's a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted, because my mind is always jumbled, I'm like, I need to put it on notes or else I'm not going to know what I'm saying.
That's
You know?
fine.
Also, not a professional. I just have it. So,
Oh, yeah, like when it comes to, like...
the logistics of the disorder.
Yeah.
I have, like, facts and stuff that I've gotten from articles, but, you know, still.
That's about it.
I'm not a prof.
Yeah. If you think you have it, talk to a professional about it.
Yeah. You can self-diagnose. There's, like, symptoms checklists on a lot of websites.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll get into that in a bit. But ADHD, I think the main thing what I'll do is I'll explain it and then talk about it and then talk about my experience.
Okay.
But ADHD, it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I think right now I don't know if people consider it a mental health disorder anymore because it's more of a neurological disorder.
Okay.
Because
And what's the difference between those?
what do you mean?
Like, what's the difference between, like, something being a mental health disorder and being a neurological?
See, it's like a weird fine line because when you have depression, it's also when you're lacking serotonin, correct?
I'm not sure.
Not
I don't
sure?
know the facts behind it.
Because it's a mood disorder.
Yeah.
But ADHD can also be a mood disorder. It has symptoms to be a mood disorder, but even though it's not itself a mood disorder, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain.
Okay.
So it's when your, like a normal brain, my brain, doesn't have enough dopamine in it.
Oh, okay.
So when it doesn't have enough dopamine in it, it's obviously lacking attentiveness. And it's quite impulsive. So it doesn't have that quick thinking, like realistic approach. It's more of like, fuck it. You know, I'll just do it now and not think about the consequences.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that neurotransmitter in there.
Okay.
But that's basically what ADHD is. There is also attention deficit disorder, which is just ADD. But people don't really, the community doesn't really like that term anymore because ADD is hyperactive as well. Just because you're not bouncing off the walls or interrupting people, you're still hyperactive in other aspects of your life.
Okay.
Because I was diagnosed with ADD, but I consider myself to have ADHD.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But, so there's different types of ADHD. So there's predominantly inattentive, and then there's the hyperactive impulsive type, and then the third one is combined. So you can have both, which is pretty much what I have.
Okay.
But the predominantly inattentive one, it's basically when it's hard for individuals to organize or finish a task, right?
Yeah.
You're just lacking that. You can't pay attention to small details. You lose your train of thought really quickly. You lose things. I don't know if I lose things too much.
No, I don't think so.
I don't have that symptom. Like, I'm not I am forgetful in certain things.
Yeah.
Maybe with processing information, but like with remembering dates and stuff, I never have an issue with that. Like some people
birthdays.
Birthdays, yes, but I mean like making appointments and stuff, I never forget them.
Okay.
But birthdays, I'm very bad with birthdays. It's so bad.
I mean, it's okay. I don't think people really like expect you to know everybody's birthday.
Yeah. I also never miss a birthday.
Yeah, like you're around a birthday.
Yeah.
Like you'll just be like, "Yeah, I know your birthday's coming up.
When is it?
I'm not sure what day it is, but I know
just
it's coming.
Remind me.
So just yeah.
But yeah, that's the inattentive. It's just like the forgetfulness, the inattentiveness, the dissociating, which I'll probably talk about in a bit. But the hyperactivity one is the not being able to wait your turn, which I struggle with a little bit. I'm very impatient. Talking a lot, excessive talking, butting in conversations when you can't wait your turn to say, because you have like one thought coming in so much, you have to get it out, or else you'll forget it.
Yeah.
So that's basically hyperactive, and the hyperactive is more common in young boys, because boys in the classroom growing up are quite like not aggressive, but you know when they get like rowdy or loud, or they throw things.
Yeah.
They have behavior issues. That's why boys are usually linked with ADHD at a very young age. So because a lot of women don't show that hyperactiveness in those symptoms, like the what am I trying to say? Like the abruptness, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have that, we often get diagnosed later in life.
Yeah.
We usually get diagnosed in our 20s, which is what happened to me.
Yeah.
Officially diagnosed. Because we don't show those symptoms. It's different in men and women. But yeah, those are the different types.
Okay. I know like a lot of the things that you listed, I can see in you.
Yeah.
Day to day. Not as much now.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, but
that's because of medication.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. Like it's difficult to live with, but it's also manageable.
Yeah.
Like it's not nothing crazy serious.
Yeah.
The only issues that is linked with ADHD is sometimes because you have poor emotional regulation. You struggle to like cope with your emotions and how to process them effectively. So a lot of people usually deal with depression, anxiety, OCD. They have sleep issues. Like there's so much. Also, if you usually have ADHD, you tend to have dyslexia. Usually people are misdiagnosed with dyslexia.
Yeah.
Which is what I was.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with dyslexia when I was, 6?
Yeah.
6 or 7. They knew that I had some sort of poor information processing. Like I wasn't, when you would give me an oral instruction, it would instantly go from my brain.
Yeah. Like
I just couldn't process it at all. So they just assumed that I had dyslexia.
Yeah.
Also, people tend to have dyspraxia as well, which is issues with numbers.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like, you suck at math, basically.
Yeah.
Which I also have that. But because I assumed I had dyslexia for a very long time in school, I never had certain aids to help me then.
Yeah. Because then it was based around dyslexia aids, or
Yeah, like it was more targeted towards learning difficulties, which, yes, ADHD does have learning difficulties, but there's a shit ton more of symptoms that you deal with. Like the irrationalness, like the emotional breakdowns, like there's so much. And even some people have tics.
Oh, yeah.
Which I have certain tics. I have like vocal tics sometimes, and I have a lot of physical tics. Because I need to do like a sensory thing to like knock on a wall, which I do quite often.
Yeah.
But everyone's different. Not necessarily everyone with ADHD does have tics. But there's a lot with ADHD, and I think because the school system doesn't offer a lot of help for kids with ADHD, they end up getting lost in the system. They don't really get enough help. And then teachers often label them as non-starters or lazy or just not willing to put in the effort. But they physically can't.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have that mental effort because certain tasks are so straining. Like, even before, when I was on medication, I wouldn't be able to, like, read one chapter. Because I would just read the same sentence over and over and over again.
Yeah. I don't really find, like, you to be, like, that impatient. I think, like, the biggest thing that I'll notice is, like, you'll try to do something, and then if it depends on what it is, but, like, you'll try to do something, and if it doesn't work within, like, the first couple minutes,
I'll give up.
Yeah, and you get frustrated, like, very quickly with yourself, and then you'll just, like, give up, and you're like, fuck it, I'm not doing it then.
Yeah.
And then you'll leave it, and usually you'll come back to it and, like, problem solve it and end up doing it.
Yeah.
But I find, like, the initial act of it gets you frustrated really quickly, and then you're just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, like, you will come back and do it, but, like, I feel like some people just, like, wouldn't. Like, they would just leave it.
It's difficult because, like, although it's such a small task, like writing an email or something, you put so much mental effort into doing that task because you are lacking that dopamine to do that task. So you're doing twice the work compared to someone with a quote-unquote normal brain. So then when you've put all that energy into it and then it doesn't instantly work out the same, like it doesn't go the right way, you're then discouraged.
Yeah.
Because then you're also impatient with the task of it not getting done immediately, even though that's not how life works.
Yeah.
But your brain just can't process that.
Yeah.
So it gets overwhelming, and then you get emotional. Then you get either angry, irritable, or you just shut down.
Yeah.
I tend to shut down.
Yeah.
That's usually my go-to. Or if we have, like, arguments or certain opinions we don't agree on, if, like, you come at me with a fact that's completely true, and I've, like, started the conversation with a fact that is not true, and, like, even though I think it's true,
or something that could be true, but in, like, certain contexts might not necessarily go along with the fact that I've just said, then
it's funny.
I think it's mainly because, like, it goes along with, like, you were expecting that conversation to go one way. So then when it doesn't go the way that you were expecting it to go, then that's kind of takes you off guard. And then it's almost like, well, now I have to problem solve out of this. And I don't know how to do that right now. Yeah. So then that takes, like, extra effort. And then that's where the impatient, like, frustrating parts come in.
Yeah, like, it's a bunch of... I honestly consider ADHD. I have ADHD. I consider ADHD to be more of an emotional condition. Yeah. I think it really fucks with your brain. Yeah. Because although you are lacking that inattentiveness, the struggling part is you want to be attentive. So then it's a complete mind fuck. Yeah. Like, we also get this thing where it's called, like, ADHD brain, where you are completely frozen. And you're frozen in the fact that you know you have a shit ton of work to do. Like, you can easily go and do it. Yeah. But you will sit on the couch for hours thinking of the tasks that you have to do, but you won't do it. Yeah. Yeah. I have, like, a lot of those, but most of I believe, is related to my anxiety. Right. So usually, like, small tasks that would take me
like next to no time, but if they like lead to other things, then do they really have to sit there and like yell? Like, we're trying to record. But yeah, like then if it like leads, if I know like it's going to lead to something that's going like is like meaningful or like a lot bigger than just like the first email, then I get very like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of keep like pushing it off until I either have to do it or somebody's like, bro,
get it done.
Do this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's procrastination, right?
Yeah.
Like I did that all through university. I would get a 10-page essay that I would have to write, and they would have given us a month advance, and I would write it the night before.
Damn.
Yeah. And then it was easy.
Yeah.
Because when I put my mind to it, I actually am a very good student.
Yeah.
And I'll do it, and I'll get the job done, and then I get a good grade.
Mm-hmm.
But I've pushed a task back that probably could have taken a day at most.
Yeah.
But I've pushed it back so much to the point where now I'm stressed.
Yeah.
But I also work really well under pressure.
Yeah.
So I will just, because I know I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
I have that attitude that I'm going to get it done. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I push it back so much to the point where, like, that's not necessary.
I listened to, like, another podcast, and the guy on the podcast has ADHD, and he was saying, like, when things like that start to happen where he, like, procrastinates things, he's, like, what he's working on now is he's, like, I don't think about doing it. Like, he tries not to think about the fact that he has to do it. He just does it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I try to do it essentially as quickly as possible, even with mistakes. So, like, writing an email. He's like, I'll write it just, like, because he, like, works in, like, sales and stuff. And he was like, I'll just, like, write it super quickly. It's, like, obviously not going to be great, like, the first round. But he's like, I'm always surprised at how quickly it actually comes together. Yeah. And then he just has to go and, like, edit it. And he's like, it just goes so much easier when he doesn't think about it, because he's like, when he's like, oh fuck, I have to write this email, I have to write this email, he's like, then I just keep putting it off, whereas he's like, if I just, like, pull my phone out and start the email, then he's like, I don't worry about it.
You don't even second guess it.
Yeah,
it's because when you, like, sit on it and you constantly think about it, it'll get pushed back further. Thankfully, like, medication helps with that, because again, that you're lacking the dopamine in your brain. But when you take a stimulant like Ritalin or Adderall, it gives you that extra boost to be like, no, get it done now, and you just do it. Like, now I don't struggle with procrastination as much.
Okay, that's good.
Which is good. Like, I'll just get it done if I have to get it done. But that wasn't the case in university because I wasn't medicated. I was diagnosed at 17 with moderate depression and anxiety. But later finding out that was also just linked. That was severe symptoms of my ADHD. But I had depression and anxiety, and I wasn't on medication for depression, but I was on some sort of medication for my anxiety. So I was always focusing on getting those under control and trying to work through that.
Yeah.
And mainly going to therapy for those things. But it was actually the ADHD that was super under control. No.
Out of control.
Out of control, sorry. Because it was never dealt with.
Yeah.
Like, it was just never dealt with.
But it's hard to, like, deal with something if you don't know that you need to deal with it.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, TikTok made me realize that it was full-on ADHD. Yeah. Because I always questioned it to be like, it was always like this lingering thing. Like, it could be ADHD, it could be just because you have dyslexia, or it could be your anxiety, your depression. It could be any of those things, or just a mix of everything. Yeah. So it was never really a definitive diagnosis. Like, I had concerns when I went to my doctor when I was 17, and I told her that I just wasn't feeling productive, and I wasn't feeling, like, present, if that makes sense. Yeah. And she's like, oh, well, that's that's depression. That's anxiety. You feel like this big hole in yourself that you need to fill, but you can't fill it.
Yeah.
Because you are depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So I just assumed it was that. We all just assumed it was that. Like, even growing up, when my mom got me tested in England before we came to Canada, we got the diagnosis for dyslexia. And then when we moved to Canada, we didn't do any further testing because all my teachers said that, oh yeah, it's just dyslexia, it's fine. She's showing no issues right now.
Other than the dyslexia.
But also, I was an incredibly shy child. So I never came to my teachers with my problems anyway.
Yeah. So they didn't really know.
They didn't know because I didn't tell anyone. And then I assumed because I had dyslexia, this must be dyslexia.
Yeah.
This must be why I must feel so weird.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you don't know what it is, then you can't know how to feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, when we first moved in together, because, like, we've been friends since grade 11. I would not have been able to say that you had ADHD.
Yeah.
Mainly because I didn't know about it. But I didn't really notice it until we moved in together. Yeah. Because then, like, we're obviously seeing each other. We see each other every single day. And then before you went on medication, that's when, like, I was, like, noticing the little things that you were doing. But then when you went on the medication, then I was noticing how different it was. Yeah. And that's when I was really like, okay.
She had something going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you've always been, like, open about it. And, like, I knew before the medication, you were like, I can't sleep. Like, I'm up all night. Yeah. Like, I can't sleep. And then, like, obviously then that affected, like, how you were in general. So then, like, when the medication came and you were able to sleep, like, that makes just, like, a huge difference to begin with, because, like, when you're lacking sleep, that's a huge thing. You
go crazy.
Yeah. So, so, like, that was a change, like, right off the bat when you started, like, sleeping properly. And then on top of that, like, just the little things that you had, like, mentioned before, like, the tics. The tics I notice the most because they're physical, so I can see when they happen. Sometimes Annie doesn't take her medication until, like, the afternoon,
and you can completely.
And in the morning, we'll just be, like, in the living room together, and she'll, like, bang on the table or something. And I was like, "Have you taken your medication today?" And she goes, No, not yet. And I was like, oh, okay. She goes, you can tell, can't you? And I was like, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. You can tell. Like, I have also had this weird vocal tic where I do a throat clearing thing where I go all the time.
Oh, yeah. You do that sometimes when we're eating, and I worry that you're choking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then now that I know that it's a tic, I don't.
I didn't know it was a tic. I just thought it was, like, a thing. My body was just doing it. Because my mom would point out, she's like, is something wrong? Like, do you have a sore throat? I'm like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about? I would always do it all the time. Yeah. Then I later found out that tics were associated with ADHD. Yeah. So I'm like, oh. Yeah. That's why I do that. Yeah. But I do a lot of vocal tics, and I sing a lot of songs. Yeah. Repeatedly? Yeah. Like,
I probably don't help with that.
They come over. Like, with TikToks. Oh, they're bad. They get stuck in my head, and then I can't get them out.
Yeah. And the same things, like, happen to me, or, like, I sing, like, all the time. So, like, I'll sing a song, and then Annie will get hooked on that song, and then Annie and I are both just singing that same song
over and over.
Over and over and over again. And we can't. Yeah. We can't move on from it. We get stuck on it for, like, days sometimes.
Oh, it'll stay there. Like, I have this weird one where I break out and I sing Kumbaya, my lord.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That one's one of my favorites, though.
Kumbaya. I sing it all the time. I do that one. I mean, I do a ton. But it's because when you have ADHD, you have this thing called hyperfixation. Yeah. So you become incredibly passionate about something. Maybe for a short time. It depends. Like,
Annie has phases.
I have phases. So, oh my God, like, it probably started when I used to like One Direction. I mean, I still like them. But when I was a One Direction fan, when they were still a thing.
Yeah.
When I was 13, I hyperfixated on that band for 5 years. Loved them.
Yeah.
You know, and I, like, had merch. I had stuff. Like, I used to have a Twitter account when I was 13. Had 20,000 followers.
As you do.
Just saying. But yeah, you just go through these weird phases where you hyperfixate on certain things. Like, when we moved in, I hyperfixated on, like, chai tea.
Chai tea. Annie went through a phase of...
Chocolate milk?
Chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Also giving herself small tattoos.
Yeah, I got a stick and poke kit.
Yeah. She's stick and poked. Like, how many tattoos? 6? Yep. On her hands.
They're small. They
are small, but they're stick and poke, so she did them on her kitchen table. Yeah. All sanitary, though, I have to admit. She did a pretty good job at being
They're not
sanitary.
that bad either.
And they're not that bad, but I was like, oh boy.
Well, yeah, so I hyperfixated on that. I had a weird obsession with totes.
She still has an obsession with totes.
I do, but there was a stage where I was getting 6 at a time.
Yeah, it slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, so you go through periods where you hyperfixate on a certain interest or topic, and then it leaves your brain.
Yeah.
You just become so uninterested.
If I mention something that we should do, or like, okay, so the one I'm thinking of is I was like, listen, the equipment that I have for working out right now is kind of trash. Like, I was like, we have a couple dumbbells, a couple bands, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm really seriously thinking about getting some adjustable dumbbells. And Annie's like, yes, let's do it. Immediately, we buy 2 adjustable dumbbells. We split on it. Great. I'm like, okay, great. We're done.
That's over. Yeah.
We're done. We don't need any more. Like, that's all I need. I can do tons of new workouts and actually push myself with 2 adjustable dumbbells.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, we're sitting in the living room, and Annie's just like, yeah, I found, like, I want a Stairmaster.
Yep.
And then she's like, oh, maybe we should get a treadmill. Or, like, maybe we should get a bench press. Maybe a squat rack. We could put the squat rack right here. I was like, bro, we live in a 2-bedroom apartment. I was like, we don't need all this stuff. I did seriously consider the squat rack, mainly because I fucking miss the squat rack. Yeah. But I would, like, that's what it gets, where she's just like, oh, this. I
get stuck on it, and I can't get away from it.
And then, thankfully, I'm not like that, so I'll just be like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, we don't need that. We're going to think rationally about this. But like I've said in past episodes, sometimes when things like that happen, Annie doesn't consult anybody about it because she doesn't want somebody to tell her that that's either a bad idea or not to do it.
Yeah.
So she'll just be like, example A, tattoos. Annie won't tell me when she's getting a tattoo. The day of, she'll be like getting ready to leave the house, and I'll be like,
where are you going?
Where are you going? She's just like, oh yeah, I have a tattoo appointment. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Annie can do what she wants, but
I will not wait for you to talk me out of it.
Certain things she does not wait for me to talk her out of.
Yeah. That I'm incredibly impulsive.
Yeah.
Which is a huge symptom of ADHD.
Yeah. I think it helps, like before you lived on your own, like you were living on your own, so there was like nobody there to be like, hey,
stop.
Maybe let's take a second. Not get some help. You have help, but like, maybe let's just take a minute, think about this. Is this really something you either need or want or something like that? And then we can go from there. And it's just like having that extra person to be like,
let's stop and think about it.
Let's take a second. And going from there. And lots of times it is fine. Like, it's not that big of a... Like, it's not like you're going out and buying a car. Which in the summer, she almost bought a car. And I was kind of like...
I did.
I was kind of like... Okay, let's think about this for a second. I was like, we're moving to Toronto.
We don't need a car.
I don't think we really need a car. But if you want to get a car,
yeah,
that's up to you.
Thankfully, I don't do big impulsive things like that. really anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I stop and go, okay, let's slow down. Just take a breather. Yeah. I usually do some deep breaths. I am really bad at thinking about it at night. So, like, I'll do things at night, and then I'll wake up in the next one and go, oh,
why? No. I just dropped $500 on online shopping, and then you're like,
oh, why have I done that?
Why?
Like, you just can't pull yourself out of that hole. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, with Ritalin, I can now.
Yeah.
Also, you don't have to go on medication if you don't want to.
No.
There's no need to. I just very much needed something.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even said that, like, I mean, also, like, your tics and, like, things like that, like, they don't really affect me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, for a bit, I thought you were choking on your food for a while, and I was like, is she okay?
What's wrong?
Like, I thought you had, like, a swallowing issue or something.
Yeah.
But then I was like, she's not choking, so, like, that's good. And then I realized, like, I came to the realization that it was a tic, and I was like, okay, it's just a tic.
Yeah.
Like, things like that. Like, on occasions, like, when she had, like, the banging, I'll like, jump, and then she goes, sorry. So, like, things like that. But other than that, it really doesn't affect me at all. Like, maybe, like, if we were, like, first starting to be friends,
it would put you off a bit.
I think maybe, like, sometimes I would just be like, is she not listening to what I'm saying? Like, things like that. But I also know, like, I talk a lot, so sometimes people, I think, get spacey when I talk anyway. So, things like that. But, like, otherwise, like, it really doesn't affect me at all. So, like, if you choose not to go on it, it's not like it's affecting me.
No, you should only go on it if you want to.
Yeah.
Like, no one forced me to go on it.
Yeah, and if you feel like it's going to better your day-to-day, then I think it's worth it. But if not, I would say, like, if, like, with the sleeping thing, I think I could, like, when you don't get a good sleep, you can be a bit more, like, I can tell you're not, like, yourself. And then I think that, like, you give those emotions off to the people around you.
Yeah.
So, but that, what I would say would be the only, like, impedance, I'm saying in, like, quotations, that it would be. But, like, even that wasn't on an extreme level.
Yeah.
So.
But sometimes, like, it can be.
Yeah.
Because although you don't have to treat your ADHD if you don't want to, you kind of have to take into consideration that your ADHD does affect the people around you, because how you act in your friendships and your relationships, and same with your family members, because, like, if you are constantly out of focus, even though you want to be, people are regardless going to think that you aren't showing, like, a level of care towards them.
Yeah.
Like, you can't help it, of course, but they're obviously going to still think from a human level.
Yeah.
That they feel like that they've done something wrong, or like, oh my God, like, am I not an interesting person?
Yeah.
Which is not the case. Like, you could tell me the most in-depth conversation, and I will find myself dissociating during that conversation. And I can, thankfully now with therapy, I can pull myself out of dissociation. But a lot of people can't. And, like, they'll dissociate for, like, hours. And it's horrible.
Yeah. I can't imagine what, like, I mean, I think I dissociate sometimes. Not as much now. When I was, like hella stressed, when it came to, like, work or something, I found I disassociated a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just, like, an ADHD thing, or, like, where it comes, because, like, I don't think I have, or I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, so I don't want to say that
you have that.
Have it. But there's, like, certain things that, like, happen where I'm like, oh, like, these are things that Annie deals with too. Maybe it is ADHD, but, like, I don't think I have it.
Yeah.
Definitely not on the level that you have it, if I do have it. But the disassociating one was one that I noticed a lot. And I remembered, like, when I was working at Good Life, I was working a lot. Yeah. And then one of my friends there, I would disassociate, and she would, like, pull out her phone
and just, like,
film me. And she would be like, she's not on Earth right now. And she would, like, show me after, and it was happening, like, relatively frequently, that I was like, oh my God, like I'm just straight
Something's
up
wrong.
spacing out, like in the middle of conversations.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it wouldn't usually be if I'm like one-on-one talking to somebody, but if I was like in a group of people and we were like all having conversation, like I would just
space out.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't know that was something I did until she was like, you are not present. Like,
you're not here right now. Yeah, that is dissociation. I don't know if it's common with other disorders. It's 100% a huge one with ADHD.
Yeah.
Because it's your brain just like shutting off.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets too much. Like the sensory input just gets way too much, and then you shut down.
Yeah.
I do it often. I still dissociate with Ritalin. I don't think that'll ever go away.
I don't notice it. I noticed it way more when you weren't on Ritalin.
Yeah, because they were longer and they would last just...
Yeah.
I would also look quite creepy, just like literally deadpan center in the room.
Yeah, sometimes I'd be like talking and I'd be like telling her, and then I would notice that she was disassociating, and then I would be like, hey,
how are you?
Yeah, and I'd kind of like pull her out of it and then like re-explain what I had just said.
Yeah.
So that you actually like heard me. Whereas now I find if I say something and you disassociate, it's very quick, and then you'll be like, sorry, wasn't
just
listening.
Please repeat that.
Yeah, can you repeat that? And then I'll just repeat it. So like I noticed like before it was like me noticing that it was happening and then being like, hey,
woohoo,
you there?
summer blog.
Whereas now you pull yourself out of it, and I find like it's very short now if it happens.
Yeah, and
at least around me.
The medication does help with that, but that is also mainly therapy because like I have found a lot of coping skills. You can slowly start to tell when you're about to dissociate. Like you start to like fixate on a certain spot in a room, and then your peripherals go blurry. And then it kind of like the audio that you're listening to at the moment goes very like muffled, and like if you're like listening to a conversation behind a door.
Yeah.
So that's what it feels like. And then like I know you're talking, I don't know the words you're saying, and then nothing's happening in my brain. It's just empty. It's like radio static. Nothing's going on.
Yeah.
So then I notice that's happening, thankfully, and I usually either say it out loud or in my head being like, I'm dissociating.
Yeah.
I'm okay, but I'm dissociating.
Yeah.
And then when I verbalize that, thankfully for me, I come out of that.
Yeah.
Because I've like pointed out that my brain's doing something funny right now, and I'm having a conversation with a friend right now, and I'm kind of looking a bit like a dick. So I pull myself out of that, and then I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Can you just please repeat the last few sentences you've said?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's shitty. I used to dissociate when I was driving.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, I would like be... When I would where did I used to work? I would remember coming home late. Maybe it was just from Cassidy's house. I would come home late, and then I would go on the 115 driving back because I live all the way out. Fuck.
Yeah.
So I would come back, and I would be going 140, 150 at like 12:01 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And just deadpan staring, and like you kind of go on autopilot.
Yeah.
So, like, you know you're driving, but you're not driving. So then you shake out of it. You're like, oh, I'm driving. And you slowly start to drift.
Yeah. That's
so
dangerous.
I don't drive a lot.
Yeah.
Because driving scares me because things have happened like that.
Yeah.
Where I've, like, forgot that I'm driving.
But you've never had an accident.
Thankfully, thank God, I've never had an accident.
Yeah.
I've never had a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
I almost got a speeding ticket, but I talked myself out of it. But... yeah, driving and me don't really go along. I also am quite, like, irritable sometimes. So I used to have quite bad road rage in high school, as we know.
I remember.
So it just doesn't mesh well with me.
Yeah.
Which is fine, you know?
You don't really need a car here anyway.
No, I don't need a car. I also don't really like driving because I don't like waiting in traffic. No one does, obviously.
Yeah, I don't mind driving. I don't really even mind waiting in traffic.
No?
No, it really doesn't bother me that. Unless I'm like, the only time I find my driving gets kind of shitty is when I'm tired.
Yeah.
And then one time I ran a stop sign.
That'll do it.
Because thankfully I was the only one around.
Mm.
But I ran a stop sign and then Judah was like, that was a stop sign. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I do notice, like, when I'm sleepy,
Yeah,
that that starts to happen. So I really try not to drive when I'm tired, because I definitely notice it. And then but usually I don't have to drive when I'm tired.
yeah,
Like, usually there's either somebody else or I just don't have to. So I used to like drive to work in the morning. I drove to work in the morning for like a whole week, and I worked at like 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
Thank you.
So at those times, typically I was driven to work by my grandma,
Yeah,
and then she would just I would just literally wake up, put my clothes on, and go to work pretty much. But when I had the car for like a week-ish, maybe a bit longer, when she went away one time, and then she was like, you can drive to work yourself and keep the car. So then I got up like an extra hour before I had to leave so that I knew that I was like awake when I was driving. And even at that time of the morning, like nobody's really out. But I know that I'm not a great driver when I'm sleepy. So I was like, I need to be like awake
and alert.
Yeah, to drive. But
It's scary.
I've never dissociated while driving.
Yeah.
It's always like, usually always in conversation with people. I'll just like space.
Just like doze off for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I think you can notice when. You do notice when you do it.
I don't really notice when I do it.
No.
But it hasn't happened in a long time. Like I said, it typically only really happened when I was like...
In stressful...
When my life was stressful, and then like I would be like out with people or something. And I think it was just like... I was a workaholic before, so...
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was. So then like all of that build up, plus then I had like a social life and stuff. So then...
Right.
It was in my free time with my social life that was happening. But it hasn't happened. Like, I can't even remember the last time it happened. But it would happen, like, when I was out with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then somebody like, hey, you here?
You good?
What's going on? And I'd be like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
There's space for a second.
I tend to dissociate in conversations and when I'm doing certain tasks. I can't say that word that well. Also when I'm on the subway. My God, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But dissociating is a huge one. Like,
and you don't, there's nothing happening. Like, you don't hear anything.
No.
Like, you're not, like, talking to yourself in your head.
No, it's like you're just existing.
Yeah.
It's quite weird.
It's quite strange,
Because there's a thing called dissociating, but there's also derealization.
Yeah.
Or depersonalization.
Yeah.
Is when you can... I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure when you're completely still and you're watching life happen around you. And you're just watching it happen. You're not
taking part.
You just realize that everything around you is going on, and you're just existing. It's quite an existential...
Yeah, that's never happened to me.
Yeah, it very much happened to me.
Yeah.
It's quite weird. But I don't know. The brain's just weird.
Yeah. What do you feel like is the hardest thing that you deal with in regards to the ADHD?
Probably like a sensory thing. Because ADHD apparently is also linked with the autism spectrum because you're neurotypical. So people with autism also deal with sensory issues. So like I struggle with sounds quite a bit because we live on Yonge Street. So my God, there's 5 fire trucks, people yelling, homeless men screaming. And usually this is all going at once.
People beatboxing.
Oh, yeah, he hasn't been here
Drag
in a while.
racing.
Drag racing.
Yeah, he hasn't been coming for a while.
Maybe he got a gig somewhere.
Who would do that?
Who knows? But I think it's probably the sensory thing. that's a big thing because medication doesn't really help with that.
Oh, really?
No. My medication doesn't anyway.
I don't find you to be, like, as affected by it as you were, though.
That's good.
Yeah. But maybe that's just you.
Could be.
Coping.
Could be with therapy as well.
True.
Just, like, finding coping strategies. Like, I find grocery stores really difficult.
Yeah. I notice when we go to the grocery store.
Like, incredibly difficult. Like, it's a lot of people. The lights are really bright. Like, people are just moving really quickly. You know.
Yeah, we usually do, like, an in and out type of thing at the grocery store. We don't, I mean, also COVID. So, but we don't, like, spend, and then usually, as somebody who lives with somebody who has ADHD, knowing that the grocery store is a hard thing, I try to make it, like, as easy as possible. So, like, writing a list so that we know what we're going in for.
Yeah.
And then kind of going in the order of the store, so we're not having to, like, oh, we're at one end of the store, now we're at the other end of the store, now we're in the middle of the store, then back to the other side of the store. Like,
can't do that.
We try and do it, like, when we're in certain sections, and we get what we need while we're there. So we're not, like, all over the place, which just also just makes it easier in general. And then also, like, doing things like, if there's an aisle that's particularly busy, I'll, like, park the cart at the end, go in myself, get the things, come back out. Or, like, I'll be like, hey, we only need these few things left, you go and get these things, I'll get these things, we'll meet here. Yeah. And we'll do things like that so that it's a lot less, like, chaotic. And that seems to help, I think.
Yeah, it does a lot.
Rather than just, like, not having a plan, going in and just, like, walking, like, around.
Like, freeballing
and, like,
it.
Yeah.
No, it gets way too overwhelming. Yeah. And then when you get overwhelmed, you just get quite grumpy. Yeah. And no one wants to be around a grumpy person. Yeah. It's not fun. Yeah. And I know when my mood starts to change. Like, I can feel myself slowly getting irritated. So that I'm like, okay. Like, I have to just kind of, like, give myself a little pep talk. Like, it's fine. Yeah. It's essential right now. We need groceries. Yeah. So, like, it'll be over soon. Yeah. But some people won't go in grocery stores because it's too hard.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I used to not go grocery shopping with my mom after she would get angry with me because I would blow up in grocery stores. And she'd be like, we're just grocery shopping. Yeah. Like, but to be fair, she also didn't know the depth of it yet. Yeah. So, like, I just came across as a huge bitch.
Yeah. I think if, like, you don't know the situation
you can't help it.
Yeah. Also, like most of the time if I go to, like, a mall or something, I'm the type of person that goes in, gets what I need and, like, leave. Yeah. But, like, I have friends who are people who like to, like, just dawdle around. Yeah. Like, look at stuff, which is also fine. Like, I don't mind doing that too, but I know, like, with you, you're not the type to do that. No. So, like sometimes, like, if we get into a store and the store isn't particularly busy, like, you can do that. Like, you can kind of, like, go around and, like, take it easy. But most of the time, like, you're not the type to just, like, I'm just gonna wander around the store and take a look. It's like we're coming in looking for certain things and leaving.
We're going.
Yeah. So, like, I just know, like, that's not something I do with you. Yeah. Like, if I want to go and try on, like, 50 pairs of jeans at a store, I'm not taking you with me to do that.
I won't go.
Yeah. Like, I'd just be like, that's not for you. Yeah. So, like, it's just... I don't find it to be a problem. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, I'm not like recently we talked to a friend who said, like, she had a friend who was evidently saying that she wasn't as good of, like, a friend to hang out with because she didn't like to do certain things with her. Right. But, like, then I had said, like, there's certain things that are not great for you. Especially related to the ADHD. So, like, for example, a club isn't going to be a place that's going to be great for you. Yeah. Because there's consistent sensory there. Yeah. Like, there's lights, there's music, there's people. Like, people are touching you. Like, there's a lot going on all at once. I'm big on that as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Touching. Yeah. So then, like, obviously I'm not going to be, like, expecting you to come to a club with me.
Yeah.
Like, I have other friends that I would
That
go
will
to a
willingly
club.
go.
Yeah, go to a club with me. And, like, obviously there's times that I go out and I'd be like, oh, it'd be nice for Annie to come. And I usually would be like, hey, if you want to go, like, you're welcome to come. But I'm also not, like, upset with you if you choose not to come.
It also definitely depends on how I'm feeling that day. Like, if I'm already, like, emotionally overwhelmed, I more than likely, like, will not go.
Yeah.
But, like, I'll go to drag bars every now and then. Like, I go to concerts.
Yeah.
And I'm fine in concerts until the concert finishes and everyone goes to, like, leave. And you know how everyone, like, rushes down the stairs?
Yeah.
I feel myself getting so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm panicking. Like, oh, my God, everyone's getting up at the same time. And we're all going out the same door through the same hallway.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
But actually, whilst I'm in the arena listening to the music, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But that could just because I'm so passionate about music.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so fixated on being there to listen to an artist that I love.
Yeah.
It kind of forgets everything else.
Yeah.
But when that stops, I'm like, I need to get out, like, in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. And then on, obviously you're not going to get out in the next 2 minutes.
No.
Because it's chaos.
Yeah. I usually speed walk, and whoever I'm with, I'll grab their hand and run them through the crowd.
Yeah.
I tend to do that. I'm like, just hold on to me and I'll get us out.
Yeah. That's happened with us.
Yeah, I'm like,
before.
I'll find a way. Don't worry.
Whereas, like, with my anxiety, the idea of rushing through a crowd that's leaving
It's horrible.
is awful. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather just wait in my seat until the whole arena empties and then I'll leave.
No.
That's me.
Yeah. I either go out immediately when I can, as soon as that song finishes, or I miss the last song.
Oh, really?
I used to do that.
The last song is usually the encore banger, though.
Yeah, but I usually, or when he's doing his little speech.
He?
Or she, or they. The artist.
I was like, who specifically are you thinking about?
Honestly, in my mind right now, I'm currently thinking about John Mayer.
Oh, you know who I was going to guess?
Who?
Harry Styles.
Oh. Oh, no, I am staying till the end for that, man. But usually when the artist is up doing their little speech, like, thank you, good night, you know, I'm like, okay, this is my window.
This is my time.
This is my time. And then I get up and I go. But yeah, baseball games, no, I can't do them.
Have you been to a baseball?
Yeah, once. I'll never do it again.
I've never been to a baseball game.
It's cool. They're long.
Yeah. Aren't
I
you
think
like
that's
in the
why.
heat too?
Oh yeah, so it's the heat, the noise. It's long, so I'm bored. It's baseball, so it's boring.
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
I find baseball boring. Yeah.
I don't find it that exciting either.
No.
To be honest.
That and golf, I don't get it. I'm so sorry.
Golf is boring to me.
Basketball's fun, football's fun, and hockey's fun. And maybe football.
Sometimes I find sports fun. Other times, not so much. It depends on how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So.
Very true. It all depends on how it is, but yeah, no, I won't go to a baseball game again.
Never again.
Never. Don't invite me.
It's weird to think about those situations now because of COVID, because I feel like we haven't been in those situations in a long time.
I know.
It's hard for me to fathom what that's like.
I'm afraid I have agoraphobia.
Oh, fear of leaving your house.
Yeah. Even though I don't necessarily have fear of leaving my house, but like fear of being in that situation because I've left my house.
I'm not sure what you mean exactly.
Like going to a concert again. I don't know how that's going to be because I've never been in that space with a bunch of people in a long time.
Yeah. I actually feel okay about it because I feel like restrictions are like slowly lifting. They're like, because a big part of my anxiety is like feeling trapped, and everything's slowly lifting. So actually, all the things that I wouldn't want to do before, I feel like I'm kind of like okay with doing because it's like the same thing but on such a less level.
Yeah, that's true.
Of people because of COVID. So, because they can only let in like 25%.
So it's not busy.
So like, and that's my biggest thing is like.
Very true.
And then I think like easing back into it might actually be okay
better.
for me.
Yeah. Instead of just going, like, from nothing to everything.
Yeah.
I would probably collapse.
Yeah. How was it, like, because obviously, because you're introverted, but then also with ADHD, that's, like, it's very draining to be, like, around people for, like, a long amount of time. Then, because we had friends over, like, this past weekend.
Yeah.
And me as an extrovert,
You thrived.
I love it. But I did find myself very drained, like,
Yeah.
afterwards. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't expect to feel, like, this tired.
Yeah.
So I just, like, wondered how that was then, because, like, I obviously feel that tired because I'm not used to it anymore.
Right.
So then how did you feel, like, having that now?
I did feel very drained.
Yeah.
Like, because it was a lot of conversation as well. And it was hot yesterday.
Yeah.
So I did feel at times, like, really drained. And, like, I'm like, I kind of want this conversation to be over.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would dissociate for a little bit when everyone was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll come back to him like, yeah. Like, this is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would be totally fine. So, I mean, it's kind of shitty having ADHD and being an introverted.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a lot to deal with and to process.
Mm-hmm.
Because people think you're being rude.
Yeah.
That's the likelihood. They think that you're being rude or you're not enjoying your time, which I hate when people ask me that question. Like, they'd be like, are you okay? Like, are you enjoying yourself? I'm like, yeah, like, don't, please. You asking me that then gives me anxiety because then I think that you now know that I've been dissociating this entire conversation.
Yeah.
So then that gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
So literally just don't mention anything.
Yeah.
Or the best thing you can do is, like, tap my shoulder or be like, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Like,
to,
pull you back into the conversation rather than put all the focus onto that person than making everyone aware in the room that they weren't listening.
Yeah. I feel like if it were me, like, and I was worried about somebody having, like, a bad time, I would either, like, privately go to them and be like, hey, are you having a good time? Like, are you enjoying yourself, like that? Or I would do what you said. Like, I would be like, what do you think about this? Or, like,
pull them back.
Yeah, to, like, bring you into, like, the conversation. I tend to try to do that with people who are, like, really shy. If, like, a bunch of us are having a conversation, obviously, like, I'm extroverted. And if there's other people there who are more extroverted, then, like, it's very easy for us to, like, be a part of a conversation.
Right.
So then, like, if somebody might find it hard to, like, put in their 2 cents or something, then, like, creating that opportunity for them, I find, like, helps.
Yeah.
And I would just do that, like, with it, whether they have ADHD or not. So then I feel like in that situation, that's, like, one of the best ways to go about doing it.
Yeah.
So
That's true. I think as long as you're just being kind and not making them feel like shit, because they more than likely already know that something's going on.
Yeah. I don't think that most people intend.
No.
Yeah. I think it's, like, mostly, like, they're like, oh, fuck, this person doesn't seem like they're having a good time.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, are you having a good time? Like, what do you want to do? Like, it's, like, one of those things.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, hey, look at this person who is not paying attention.
Yeah, look at this idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta be considerate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the basis.
Yeah. I think so, too.
But yeah, it sucks. But there's not much you can do about it as long as you find coping strategies and then go on medication if you can. Or just live with it and then...
Yeah.
Either way, it's fine. It's just, like... It's a lot. Like, for a very long time, I thought that I was, like, a very strange person.
I mean, friend.
You're weird.
You kind of...
Here, I need to tell you something. Like, I just thought... I knew that something was wrong, but I could never pinpoint it. Which made me very angry towards the schooling system and my family.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, obviously something's wrong, but no one's believing me. So then I'm like, maybe, am I crazy? Like, honest to God, I thought I was insane. I'm like, something's happening. I would, like, Google on WebMD, like, not feeling a part or something, or, like, not feeling, like, one with everyone else. And they would just come up with the craziest things. like you have BDP.
Oh, yeah.
You know, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that was the main thing, and I just felt really, like, judged as a child.
Yeah.
So then when you're judged so much as a child, imagine growing up with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
And the teachers in my elementary school didn't help me at all.
Yeah.
They didn't take the extra time to help me when they knew I was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Because my grades were showing that I was struggling, but then they just assumed that because I was too shy to put my hand up and ask for help.
Yeah.
Then that was the reason.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the reason. It was just a bunch of shit.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot. So then, thankfully, there were a bunch of teachers in high school that helped me and kind of taught me in different ways. There was a few that I clashed heads with, but that's besides the point.
Mm-hmm.
The majority really helped me. And I don't know if she wants me to say her name. I don't think she'll.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Teresa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Teresa helped me a ton. She was, what was she? What was she called?
The chaplain.
The chaplaincy leader.
Mm-hmm.
She helped me a ton in high school.
Yeah.
So I think if you have a good support system to help you, you know, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think having, like, those people, kind of similar to, like, us living together, like, having another person there to run things by helps a lot. Like,
yeah.
And that goes with, like, most things that you're dealing with. Like, even if you're just, like, going through something, or if you suffer with ADHD, or if you suffer with, like, anxiety, depression, things like that, like, having an outside person that you can go to, even, like, even smaller things, like, in my relationship, like, sometimes things will happen, and then I'm like, am I being crazy? Like, am I just, like, and it's not even, like, he's making me feel that way, but sometimes, like, I'll be, like, thinking, like, am I overreacting about this?
Yeah.
Am I being, like, too insecure here? Or, like, because you don't want to, like, start shit and it not be, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just in
like
your feels or
overthinking
something,
it.
like, some days, so you don't want that to happen, and then to cause a whole thing just because, like, you're, like, I'm feeling some type of way one day. So, like, things like that, but, like, having friends that I can, like, go to and be like, hey, this is this thing that I'm feeling, do you think, like, I should bring that up, or, like, how do you think I should go about doing this, or whatever, that it makes it a reality then. Yeah. And it makes you feel less like you're losing it.
Yeah, and I do think when you are having that moment in your relationship or in a friendship, you should pull yourself aside and kind of, like, analyze your emotions first and detach yourself from the actual situation. Yeah. Because then if you go in with, like, throwing your hands up, you know...
Yeah.
All pissed off.
You can get nasty fast.
You can get nasty fast, and then you're going to say things that you regret. Yeah. So you should always pull yourself out of the situation and be like, okay, like, this is what this is why I'm feeling this way. Yeah. Then you go in with a more clear head instead of absolutely batshit crazy. Yeah. Because I know I've done that in the past. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Just, like, spoke out of my emotions. But now, thankfully, like, I'm more mentally stable.
Aren't we all?
So I can do that more. But yeah, as long as you have, like, a good support system around you to talk with situations like that, and don't surround yourself with people who are negative. Yeah. And are toxic for your life. Yeah. Because that's not going to help anyone.
No. That's not even going to help the toxic people.
No, and they don't even know that they're the toxic one most of the time. Yeah. Which is sad.
Yeah. And that's some tea right there.
I'm over it. I just can't. Like, I so want the rest of this year and next year to just be filled with people who support you. Mm-hmm. You know, and aren't, like, jealous of your success or, you know, appreciate the little things.
For that
literally, we're 24 this year. I don't have time for that bullshit. Nope. Sorry, I'm not a high schooler. I'm not 17.
Out here living my best life.
I'm leveling up.
Bitch, I've been leveled up.
You just
wait. You just wait and see what's to come. I've been leveling up.
I'm continuing to level up. Yeah.
You just wait.
You just wait. You come up with a big gown.
I have, like, very high expectations for the last half of 2021 and 2022.
I have very high expectations for 2022.
I'm hype.
So am I. I just know, like, what I want in life now. Like, as, like, a goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I'm at yet with that.
But, like, I think you want to be someone and you want to succeed and you want to, like, prosper.
Yeah.
I think those are my goals.
I have, like, vague goals right now.
Like, I know I want something in marketing and social media, to grow in that, to do freelance work, to be my own boss. I have to finish my book. Which, oh yeah, I'm writing a book about living with ADHD.
Yeah.
So that's a good time to plug that.
Yeah.
I still have some chapters to go, so.
It's not done yet. But hopefully.
Hopefully, by the end of this year, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
There's no rush. I'm not rushing it.
Yeah, you got another... If you want it by the end of the year, you still have 6 months.
Yeah.
So, and that scat album is coming.
Listen, I have priorities. The scat album is number 1.
Before the Living with ADHD.
Before the Living with ADHD, I have to continue my scat career.
Continue. Where did it start?
I took a break.
Where did it start, though?
Like, before COVID. It's really underground music. You probably wouldn't have heard
really
of it.
Underground, meaning
It's so underground.
She did it in her bedroom in the basement
actually
at her parents' house.
It's actually in the Earth's core. It's that underground. You'll never know.
Annie Scats coming to you 2022.
I like the name. Or Scatting Annie. No.
I like Annie Scats.
Same.
So are there any positives to living with ADHD?
That's a big question, friend.
I know, that's why I asked it.
Okay, Oprah. Positives to living with ADHD. I think that ADHD makes you a very creative individual.
Okay.
I think that you're constantly looking for something, even though it's kind of depressing, like constantly looking for something because you know that there's like this like hole that you need to feel. Not that in a negative way, but you always want to do better for yourself. So I think you're always trying to improve your life, your goals, the friends in your life. I think that's a big one. That's what I've taken anyway from ADHD. And because I've struggled so much in my life trying to figure out like the actual person I am, and like now knowing I have ADHD, I think it's a lot easier to be kind to yourself.
Okay.
To realize that you do these things for a reason and you can't help it because it's the way your brain was produced in the womb. Right? Like, I can't be mad about the fact that my mom didn't give me enough dopamine in the womb.
Yeah, I don't think she even had control.
I don't think she had control.
So.
Like, some of my family members also have ADHD, so I'm not sure if it's genetic. It could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But people on my dad's side have ADHD.
Yeah.
So it's very common. ADHD is super common, especially in women. So it's very common. I mean, if you do feel like you have some of the symptoms that I have or that I've mentioned, you can easily just ask your doctor.
You might also have ADHD.
Listen, you might also have ADHD. I know that some tests for ADHD are expensive. Unfortunately, but my doctor was a real G. And she just...
really pulled through on us.
She really pulled her. She just
one.
literally sent me over a checklist. She's like, yeah, just take off what you experience. And then I sent it back. She's like, yeah, you have really high ADHD. I'm like, thank you, I know.
Thanks, I know. Now where's my medication?
And then she sent me a prescription for Ritalin. She also asked
It did
first.
happen, like, relatively quickly.
It happened very quickly. Like, she didn't push pills on me because I know a lot of people say that doctors push pills because that's all they want to do. But my doctor is actually super understanding, and because medication for me has worked in the past, we knew that this route would probably work again. And because my ADHD is so severe, I need to be medicated for the benefit of my well-being and the people around me. So it all went very quickly. Like, my medication is thankfully really affordable. But, you know, medication's expensive if you're not insured. I'm not insured.
Yeah, I thankfully don't need to take any, really, at all.
Thank the Lord. That's nice.
Besides my birth control.
And your daily vitamins.
Yeah, but those aren't medication.
No.
Realistically, I don't even have to take birth control if I don't want to. But
True, I don't.
Not out here trying to have a baby, okay?
No. Yeah. We don't want no babies.
No.
But yeah.
No.
I mean, that's basically it.
Well, that's good. I think ending on a positive is nice.
Yeah, ADHD isn't all bad.
There are some positives that have come out of it.
Yeah, because even when I found out my diagnosis, it wasn't like, oh my God. Like, now I have this huge thing hanging over me.
Yeah.
It was more like, wow, I know what's going on now. Yeah. And I feel better.
Yeah. I think for a long time you figured you had it anyway, so it was just like the confirmation of like, yeah, you actually do. You know what? You're right.
You know what? You are right. I honestly thought I had it at like 15, but, you know, if your doctors are telling you have dyslexia, you're going to believe your doctor.
Yeah. But
I'm like, I think it's a bit more than dyslexia, bro, but let's go with that, shall we?
Yeah, I think that's enough slices!
That's enough slices!
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, and as far as I know, I can't say for all doctors, but I think most doctors are just trying to do their best.
Yeah.
For you as a patient as well. They don't necessarily, like, they're still human. They can only do so much.
Yeah.
So
ADHD is very tricky to diagnose because it is a hidden disability.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult, but if you think you have it, don't think you're crazy.
Yeah.
You know, don't think that you're
it'd be worth bringing up and like at least starting the discussion on it.
Yeah, I think the important thing is if you are trying to get diagnosed and you have to take it to your doctor, you can print out a symptom checklist that they have online, and you can just highlight the ones that you have. They do it by a point system, so it depends, like, if you have 2 points per one, and then you have, like, over, like, 46 points, then you have, like, moderate to severe ADHD. So they go by a point system.
Yeah.
So you could easily do that. Like, that's quite easy. Those are free. So then you could just then take that checklist to your doctor.
Yeah.
And they could be like, oh, shit, you have ADHD. What do you want to do now?
Yeah.
But I do suggest if you don't take the medication route for Ritalin, for ADHD, then consider therapy.
Yeah. But, yeah, is that all for today?
Yeah, I think that's everything. That's mainly the components of ADHD. I mean, you can literally talk about this for hours. There's so much to learn. Like, I'm still learning about ADHD.
Yeah.
And just being neurotypical.
In general.
Yeah. But if you are neurotypical, I suggest getting some neurotypical friends as well. It helps a ton.
Yeah, I am not neurotypical, I don't think, at least. So, maybe don't be my friend.
I think it's important to have both people in your life.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, because either, like, you're my friend, you get it. You understand, you can sympathize with it, but you may not get it on a intense level.
I definitely don't get it on it. Like sometimes when Annie gives up on things really easy, I'm like, bro, you just started. Sometimes I'll be like that. Or, like, sometimes if I'm doing something and I can see Annie get frustrated with something, then I'll go over and, like, help her with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's okay. Like, you just have to do this. Like, and
I'm like, I know, but I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, because my non-neurotypical brain is like, it's fine. Like, just take 3 seconds to take a deep breath and problem solve.
I'm like, bro, I can't.
Yeah.
Let's swap brains.
Yeah. So then sometimes, like the biggest one I remember is Annie was trying to put together her bed. And it was like in her room and she was like putting it together. I was doing something else like out here and I just kept hearing, oh, like, and I was like, are you okay? And then I eventually went and I was like, how's it going? And she goes, this doesn't work. They've sent me some wrong pieces. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. She just says it doesn't work. And I was like, friend, it kind of has to work. Like, you have all the pieces here. Like, it surely works. I have to admit, it was harder than I was expecting it to be.
But I fucked up in a part, and then I couldn't continue.
Yeah. And then she hit that roadblock and just, like, couldn't.
I couldn't get past it.
I couldn't
also go back and see what I've done wrong.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's the pieces. It's not my fault.
Yeah. So I helped her finish the bed.
You did.
It was
Thank
fine.
you.
It was fine. Like, a fresh pair of eyes on that bed helped.
Sometimes I need that.
So, yeah, sometimes.
Another perspective.
And I try to be cautious of where is a good time for me to come in and help.
Yeah.
And where it's just me doing it for you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's also bad. I used to be very much the type to be just like, oh, well, it'd just be easier if I just did it.
Yeah.
But now, like, I know that, like, that doesn't help you. So.
Yeah, that's basically me being a child.
And I'm not your parent.
Yeah.
Like, you are capable of doing things on your own sometimes.
Yeah.
Whether it gets done right that second, it might not. You might have to come back and do it. But me doing it for you isn't going to help. So, yeah. So, sometimes I just am like, no, she'll come back to it. It's fine.
She'll come back around.
It's fine. She'll problem solve her way around this one.
Yeah, but that happens often. Yeah. I also wonder. I'm gonna add this in because I don't know if other people with ADHD do it. Mm-hmm. But say if I got a notification being like a package is gonna be delivered by 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. I can't do anything that day until the package comes.
Because now, like, it's
the only thing on my brain. It's the scheduled thing. It's 2 p.m. I can't do anything prior to 2 p.m. I have to sit and wait.
Oh, yeah, I'm not.
It's quite bad. Like, I'm like, I have to work my day around this 2 p.m.
Yeah. See, I'm the type that gets that message that it's going to come at 2 p.m. the next day and then forget that I've gotten that message.
Right.
and then they're like, hey, we tried to deliver your package. And I'm like, fuck.
God
I was
damn
like,
it.
right. If something's, like, not right in front of me with, like, times and things like that, like...
Do you have time blindness?
Not necessarily time blindness, but, like, I just forget. Like, it's gone from my brain if I haven't, like, written it down somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had traces of ADHD.
You've said that a few times. Also, Annie's, like, sometimes she's just like, yeah, that's ADHD. or, like, I'll do something, she goes, yeah, that's OCD. That's OCD. And then I'll be like, oh, yeah, like, this happened. And she'll be like, yeah, depression. I'm just like, oh, okay.
It's like I don't have any right to do that, just diagnose you on the spot.
Yeah. But I was like, I don't want to say that I have that, seeing as I haven't been diagnosed with those things.
We just have similar traits.
In certain areas.
But you, if anything, you would definitely be more hyperactive ADHD.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more inattentive. Because you talk a lot.
Yeah.
But also, you're extroverted.
Yeah. My biggest thing when it comes to, like, talking and stuff, I find, like, if somebody's talking... the thing where it comes to my brain something else and then I go to say it, and I used to have a big problem with interrupting. I really, really work on it. So, like, I'll do that, or, like, what happened last night is I'll go to, like, tell you something, but then something else will happen, like, while I'm, like, about to tell you or in the middle of telling you, and then
you'll forget.
It's completely gone.
Yeah.
It's completely gone. Like, I'll, like, start to tell you, and then you'll be like, sorry, like, this thing came up, blah, 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 explain it, and I was like, oh, yeah, and then I was like, oh, yeah, but what I was going to say, and they'll be like, I have no fucking idea what I was going to say.
Yeah, if I'm mid-conversation and, like, you've said something to me, then I have prepared a response in my brain to find a time to then get it out. I have to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it in my head so I don't lose it, but then I'm also not taking in any information you're saying.
Yeah.
So then when I say this sentence, it more than likely has nothing to do with what you've said.
Yeah, I tried to do that thing for a while where, like, people would do, like, the finger up.
Oh, yeah.
So that, like, I wouldn't interrupt. and then I would still remember what I was gonna say.
Right.
So I try to do like things like that, but sometimes they don't always work. So,
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, it's just like, because it's a physical like
Reminder.
And then when the person's done, I can be like, oh,
my finger's up.
This was what I was gonna tell you.
Would you then be like, wait, why is my finger up?
Like Neville with the remembrall.
Oh, I love him.
He's like, the thing is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
Oh, Neville Longbottom.
Oh,
Ron, you can't.
No.
He's going to sacrifice himself.
That's one of our favorite TikToks right now.
Oh, it's so funny. It's the girl that does it. She does a really good job.
Everybody started copying her now.
I know.
And it's like a trend now. And I was like, nobody can do it good enough.
No one can do it just like her. Her and the other boy.
Yeah, that does Harry.
He goes, do you know where? I love it. He did a collab with her, which I told you about. I meant to send it to you.
I haven't seen it yet. Sometimes TikTok for me is weird. Like, I'll get stuck on it for like 4 hours in one day one time, and then like I won't watch it for like 4 days.
Really? That's good self-control.
No, it's not self-control.
Oh.
I just forget it's there.
You just forget
because
it's there.
I turn notifications off because I don't want to be on it all the time.
Yeah.
So then I just forget it's there, and then I'll be like, oh, and then I'll go back in and I have like 50 unread messages from like, usually there's like 30 of those 50
are mine.
Are yours.
Yeah.
And then I'll have like a few from Cassidy and a few from Bradley.
Yeah.
Bradley just recently started sending, and Brad just sends me pretty much Naruto ones.
I love it. Even like when I send Brit TikToks, we don't send them through the app. We send them through iMessage.
That would annoy me, not gonna lie.
Because we don't send them to each other often, but when we do, they're fucking hilarious. And then we usually have a conversation after we shared the TikTok.
Yeah, we don't. We're like send 30 at one time, and then we
scroll through, and then we usually laugh at them.
Yeah, we'll laugh.
Good.
I like when you watch them in front of me, so that I can watch your reactions to them.
That's like when we were doing the tarot card reading last night and you were watching Brittany's face for her reaction to me reading her cards.
Yeah, I just find it interesting to watch.
You like to know.
I'm not like really into like tarot cards and stuff like that, but like if everybody's doing it, I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah.
Like, so like then I'll just be like, oh yeah, like sure, why not? But I find it super interesting to like watch people's faces while you're reading their tarot cards.
It's quite funny.
Because I like to see like their reaction, especially because, okay, so when tarot cards happen, you have to like, now I know, you have to like shuffle them in your hands and like put your energy on them. Like put your question into the universe and like all this, and then Annie, like, pulls the cards out and reads them to you. And then, but the question that you've like, said to yourself in your head, or you're thinking about that you want the cards to answer, you can say out loud, but we didn't. So nobody knew what we asked. So that's why, like, when you're reading them, and I don't know the question, I'm, like, trying to figure out the question while they're reacting to what you're saying. Because I'm like, what did they ask? I'm just so nosy.
I'm curious. What did you ask?
I'm just like, what did you ask? And then eventually, like, after you finish reading them, we all said, like, essentially what our things were about.
What you wanted to know.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
Yeah.
You're just like watching her.
Brittany started laughing. She's like, why are you staring at me? I was like, sorry. I just like watching your reaction.
Sorry. I have a bad habit of that.
But yeah, so hopefully that gives you a bit of insight to what it's like to have ADHD and what it's like living with somebody with ADHD.
True.
And yeah, I mean, like we said, we're not professionals.
No.
We might be able to put some resources, maybe like a checklist or something from online.
Yeah, I can try and find
See
one.
if we can pop one in our link tree. If it's not there, we couldn't find one. So
True.
But yeah, so don't forget to follow the podcast. We've had a lot of listens and we're really thankful, but none of you are following the podcast.
Yeah.
So we'd really appreciate it if you followed us on Spotify. Hi Friends Pod.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Hi Friends Pod or Hi Friends Podcast?
It's Hi Friends Pod.
Hi Friends Pod on Spotify.
Yeah.
And then, of course, follow our Instagram account at Hi Friends Pod.
Mm-hmm.
And my personal Instagram is itsmeshay.xx.
And mine is Annie X Newer.
Yeah. So feel free, reach out, message us, let us know how you like the pod. And bye, friends.
Bye, friends.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something bad